Greetings one and all, and welcome to the Mystic Mind Analysis. I am the Nightmare Rider, Major Mind, reminding you as always that even a cheeseburger can be deconstructed to the original source. Kamen Rider Kuuga is the first series in the Heisei era of Kamen Rider, starting on the 30th of January 2000. This was a game changer for Kamen Rider, as it had been off the air for over a decade, with Kamen Rider Black RX finishing in September of 1989. The Heisei era changed up the formula of the franchise quite significantly, with more serious storylines formatted in 2 episode story arcs, every man protagonist in the absence of cheesy narration that was typical of Kamen Rider in the 70s and 80s. The series catchphrase for Kuuga is "a new hero and new legend," since Kuuga breaks the reoccurring trope of the lead protagonists being cyborgs created by an evil organisation yet gone rogue. Instead, Yusuke Godai is an everyday good guy who stumbled onto his powers at an archaeological dig site which unleashed the ancient tribe of monsters known as the Goronji. Yusuke had to learn how to use each of the powers that Kuuga holds, each form adapted in a specific situation in order to bring the enemy down, unlike the Showa Riders who usually know how to use their powers effectively from episode 1. While more recent Kamen Rider series have turned more for the goofy, what sets early Heisei era riders apart is how dark the storylines could get. While Kamen Rider has always been a kids show, Kuuga tackles more mature themes, with Goronji literally making games out of murdering people. Episode 34 Tremble and episode 35 Emotion are perfect examples to show just how grim some of the story arcs could get. While each of the Goronji had their own methods of killing their victims, the porcupine Goronji, Gojalijida, is especially sadistic. He stalks his victims, using his great speed to run around them, standing just out of sight before stinging them with his spines and telling them exactly how long they have left to live. His victims spend days waiting to die, as Jalaji explicitly stating that the more people suffer, the more he enjoys it. While the other Goronji do not object, this is far beyond the normal levels of brutality that you would normally come to expect. Yusuke's initial retaliation is very focused as usual, using his dragon form to dodge the first attacks, but with his superior speed, Jalaji easily stings Kuuga, warning him that he will die if they encounter each other again. This presents extra pressure for Yusuke to deal with the threat, given how he personally talks to a victim who is waiting to die. Yusuke is not normally a quick to anger person, a quality reflected by his younger sister, Minori Godai, who runs the daycare centre that Yusuke frequently visits. On this occasion, 2 children who are usually friends with one another are having a scuffle, something that Yusuke immediately picks up on, talking calmly to them both. He does not try to scold either child, instead encouraging them to communicate with one another and express their feelings, controlling their anger to resolve the matter peacefully. This level of kindness and dedication is the reason that Yusuke fights as Kuuga to begin with. It is out of compassion for those around him, dedicating himself to constantly learn new skills so he can protect everyone's smiles. But smiles are difficult to maintain when he is confronted with the sheer level of horror that this Goronji is unleashing. Both of these episodes spend a lot of time with Gojalijida as victims. The direction uses a lot of shaky cam, which in this kind of show could be a problem, but is surprisingly very effective in the scenario. The porcupine Goronji is trying to scare his target as much as possible, so with the view we see being very unstable, it represents the confusion and anxiety that each victim goes through when trying to defend themselves or escape. The police are also heavily involved with this conflict, as they are allied with Kuuga, providing him with the technology and information where to find the Goronji, providing a semi-effective first line of defense. When Ichijo and another police officer are chasing Jalaji through the hospital halls, the shaky cam does the same job as it does for the victim, illustrating the panic and urgency of the situation, trying to catch up with Goronji before he strikes again. Those who know me well are fully aware that I am not a fan of excessively grim dark storylines. I have a personal hatred of Neon Genesis Evangelion because of how the plot demands that Shinji never be happy, and so his character development pretty much goes around in a complete circle. But Kuuga is different. While this is a very dark episode, this is an exceptional level of horror compared to the rest of the series, and there is a point to it. Normally, Yusuke overcomes the worst of what the Goronji can throw at him, always remaining optimistic in the face of adversity. The scenes with both the police and the nursery school children provide some effective comic relief, but also show how he is a light in the darkness. strengths. Yusuke is a motivator, always smiling and helping people, not just through fighting as Kuuga, but also as his normal self, listening to the needs of others. His signature gesture is the thumbs up sign, showing that everything is okay and things will turn out for the better. This story arc, like much of the series, is not completely free of flaws. The pacing tends to be very slow, spending a lot of time with the children and the police talking about what's going on. I understand the necessity of these diversions, but considering just how much time they take, it makes an episode feel quite bloated as a whole. If these scenes were trimmed down, the drama would remain intact, while giving Kuuga another chance to battle with Gojala-Jida, which he could get through by the skin of his teeth, increasing the urgency of the threat. If we also merge a couple of the scenes with the children together, and use the police exposition to add some scenes with the fearful victims, the issue of balance will be addressed well. But what stands out in this story arc is the end of emotion. So far, while Yusuke has been precise when fighting with the Goronji, never before have we seen him this angry. The level of psychotic behaviour that Gojala-Jida was finally pushing Yusuke to the breaking point. When he catches up, he henshins into Kuuga's mighty form to unleash an incredible beatdown to his Goronji foe. We saw Kuuga's usual fighting style earlier, but here he is just throwing punches wildly, pummeling his opponent over and over. When even ramming the Porcupine Goronji with the Trigorum doesn't work, Kuuga henshins into Rising Titan form, making him immune to the porcupine quills. Kuuga flashing back to the victims as well as the conflict with the children creates a key contrast between how Kuuga is acting versus the values that Kuuga strives to embody. He has influenced the children for the better, who follow in his footsteps to control their anger, uniting people rather than dividing them. But here, Yusuke is just so overflowing with rage that his attacks are throwing back all the pain, fear and agony that Gojala-Jida's victims felt at his hands. This has huge implications going forward, considering in an earlier episode, the power of Kuuga's Rising Mighty kit is enough to potentially level an entire city block. Kuuga is only getting stronger over time, so if this power gets out of control, or worse, he could just as easily hurt everyone he loves as much as he wants to protect them. Overall, Tremble and Emotion both raise the stakes with just how threatening the Goronji are to humanity. They showed both the best and worst in Yusuke as Kuuga, on top of conveying the sheer level of terror that the victims of Gojala-Jida feel when faced with death. While I did feel that some of the dialogue scenes went on for too long, unevenly spacing out the action, the very same scenes still provide a huge grounding factor for Yusuke, reminding him and us as an audience what he is fighting for, and just how much he needs to be aware of his own power if all the smiles of the people he loves are to be maintained. I give Kamen Rider Kuuga episodes 34 and 35 a collective grade of an A+ and a must-see recommendation. If you are new to Tokusatsu and want something a little more serious while having some amazing action to define the Japanese heroes, then Kuuga is a great way to experience how Tokusatsu defined itself in the 21st century. Until the next time, this is the Nightmare Rider, Major Mind, riding out.